Hey guys, welcome back. In this exercise, we're going to show you how to do a leg press. So leg press's primary muscle group is going to be working on your quads and working on your glutes and also your hamstrings. And we're over here, not at my private gym anymore. We're at one of the local gyms in the area, and they have a leg press machine available. So let's go ahead and have Dan show you how to do the correct form. Now, a couple of things you want to look at is let's get a view back here. There's adjustment back here a lot of guys don't really know about. They just kind of jump on and just kind of go wherever the setting is at. If you set the setting at a lower setting like this, what this does is the seat is going to sit more of a 90 degrees. It's going to come upwards. If you go ahead and put it back, it's going to come backwards. So the difference is if you go ahead and keep the seat closer to you, it's going to limit your range of motion, but it's going to keep your body in the seat. If you put the seat backwards more, you're going to go ahead and get more range of motion on your thighs, but you're going to start feeling like your body is sliding up as the weight pushes you down. So kind of keep that in mind. What I like to do usually is kind of keep it at a neutral, like always, and just kind of put it at a 90 degrees here, kind of like how we have it set up now. So everybody's size is a little bit different, so kind of keep that in mind to find out which one is the best for you. So feet placement, you can place it on a lot of different areas. I would always recommend going with a neutral, which is basically about 8 to 10 inches away. Dan, go ahead and put your feet on here, so let's go ahead and kind of show them. So Dan has it about 12 inches away right now. Dan likes to do everything at about a wide stance. So wide stance is going to work more of your inner thigh. And if you put your feet together, all the way together to where your toes touch, this is going to work on the outer sweep of your quads. So really bring out the definitions there. So if you put your feet lower on the lower end, it's going to work on your teardrops, which is basically the lower part of your quads right here, closer to your knees. So what's going to bring out the definitions here. If you put your feet higher on the top, what that does is that's going to engage your hamstrings. So you may not even actually feel a lot of your quads. You'll probably feel a high right here in your quads, but you're going to feel a lot of hamstrings and a lot of glutes. So anywhere on the top is going to work on that. Anywhere on the bottom is going to hit more of the lower quads. So this way you have kind of a general understanding. And always, I always stick with a neutral position, which is pretty much directly in the middle. And you want to have almost about equal distance on all sides of your feet, which means here, here, and here, on the top and on the bottom. If you can put your feet in the middle of about everything, you would develop a more overall muscle in your quads and your glutes and your hams. And let's go ahead and get started. Let's go and show them the right form. So this machine here, form is very easy. Just make sure you have your chest out and come all the way down. And you notice how Dan's leg is coming about to his chest. Now you don't have to go much further than that, but you definitely want to get it at least to a part of your chest, so this way you can get a good full range of motion. So when you're coming back, if you go ahead and have your legs a little open like that, you'll bring in more of your inner thighs. If you keep your knees closed in, let's keep our knees closed in on the next one. You'll bring in more of your outer thigh. So that's kind of how you justify the difference. And again, I recommend going with just a neutral grip and a neutral position, everything coming right down the middle. And again, last thing I want to talk about is where to put the pressure on your feet. You want to make sure you always keep the pressure here on the heel, because that's going to go ahead and work on your thigh. If you put the pressure on your toe, that's going to actually stress your knees more. So make sure you always press on your heel. So a trick that I do sometimes is actually curling your feet backwards a little like this, so you can really engage on your thigh when you come down. Let's show them a couple reps doing that. So this way it really engages your thigh and kind of forces it. Once you get used to it, you don't have to kind of, you know, lift your feet up anymore. But in the beginning though, that may help if that's one of the problems you're having. Your hands can be grabbing here on the side. And if you like, you can also go ahead and put your hands on your thigh here, kind of as a self spot whenever you're going really heavy. But in the meantime, when you're going on a regular weight, about 12 reps or so, you can just have your hands here on the side. A technique I do sometimes is having my hands over here on the seat. Why don't you grab the seat right here, Dan? What this does is this kind of keeps your body from moving up as the weight gets really heavy. You'll find that this keeps your butt down, keeps your back flat on the chair, and so this way it keeps your body really still as you have more weight here coming down. All right, thanks, Dan. Let's go ahead and rack that. So some of the incorrect forms on how to do the leg press, majority of the time that I see, and this is a very big hazard, it's just going too low. So something like this, because they think they want to work on their thighs a lot, and then they'll go ahead and come down like this. And if you notice, the pressure's here on the toes, all the pressure's here on the knees. Another thing is when they put their feet here, and when they come back, they'll come back all the way to where their feet lifts up like this. All the pressure is here on your knees and none on your quads, okay? So always make sure, even if you are going to be in this position, that pressure's on your heel. You can lift your toes up like this, come down to where you feel like the pressure is on your heel. By the time when you come too low and the pressure starts traveling up, you need to go ahead and have that be your stopping point and drive the weight back up, okay? Be very careful when you're on the top to make sure not to slip your feet off here. And you always want to keep your feet on the platform. You don't want to do something like this. This is very hazardous, and if your feet slips, you can get injured. So always keep your feet on the platform. Another way to do leg presses could be working on your calves. When you're doing this, always keep your locks in, and you can go ahead and either do it bent like this, where you come down and come up like that, or you can lock in your knees and do the same thing. Keep in mind that when you're using a lot of weight on this, to probably keep your knees bent just a little bit, because if you keep your knees locked in, there's too much pressure on the weight, it would hurt your knee joint, okay? All right, anything you want to add in, Dan?
Yeah, would you ever recommend the guy cross his hands over his chest or put his hands like this on his chest?
Yeah, that's fine, just as long as you're not being lifted up. The only reason why we always recommend grabbing onto the grips over here on the side, is because it helps keep your body down instead of being pushed up. Because when you have a lot of weight and the weight's coming, it allows your body to come up. So when you hold on to it, you're able to stay in there instead of get moved around. But if the weight isn't too heavy, then yeah, you can put your hands here if it feels better, or or maybe have it here or anywhere like that.
Yeah. Okay. And another question I had: would you ever recommend if a guy was doing the leg press and it fell onto him, how would you recommend that he gets it off?
If a leg press fell onto you, then what you definitely want to do is, you can do one or two things depending on your flexibility. If you're not very flexible, then you're in a very dangerous spot, especially when there's a lot of weight. You want to go ahead and see if you can put your hands on your knees and either try to raise your butt up in here. And let me go ahead, let's come over here to the leg press and let me show you. But most of the time you want to go ahead and have somebody spot you when you're going really, really heavy like that. But if you're doing a leg press and you're down here and you got stuck, then what you can do is either put your hands here like this and push to anywhere here. I mean, you can get it up to right here and lock it. Or if you got stuck right here and you notice that it's at the end already, then you can see if you can just crawl out of it. But again, this depends on your range of motion. If you're not flexible, you may not be able to crawl out. You'll have to push it up, or ask for somebody to help you out. Most of the time, if you're going that heavy, get somebody to spot you. So this way, you always want to be more safe than sorry. So let's go ahead and put this back up. Okay, so that's it, guys, for how to do the leg press.